She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy gazpacho.
Sports can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Advice, did you know that Arsenal died?
He's got me buzzing.
Up the topies. It's hard to up them anyway.
I'm not even going to comment on that. But of course, as we love to do, let's get into some U.S. soccer here, Mike. We are on the eve of a Olympic start date for the U.S. men's soccer team here. By the time this releases, it'll be kind of the start of that game. The U.S. will be playing France in their first game. That would be a very tough game for them. France is obviously the favorites to win this, and one reason to watch France is kind of also the update in our manager search for the senior national team, as Thierry Henry is the French U23 national team coach. So if you want to watch both the U.S. men's team and a lot of these players that are coming up that you might see in the future on the national team, as well as potentially our coach moving forward, we'll see what happens. But Thierry Henry, TT, is certainly rumored with the squad here. It'll be an interesting clash there. Mike, what are you wanting to see from Thierry Henry that would make you convinced, or is there no real way with how light his resume is to convince you that he'd be a good shout for manager here? I've seen his name quite a bit. A lot of Frenchmen getting into this conversation.
I don't think there's really anything I'm going to see that would convince me he's the right guy for the job. No disrespect to TT. Love him. Great personality, phenomenal player. Manager career has been very rocky to start. And if France comes out and blows us away, I don't think that says too much about his managerial prowess. I think they're just a much more stacked team. They're the host nation. They're playing in France. And we're a young roster who hasn't played a whole lot together. So I don't know what I could see that would really give me confidence that he's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, certainly got the aura, but the managerial experience is not quite there. If he does end up winning gold medal here and looks amazing, I think that gives him slightly more in his corner. But I will say, yeah, that's not how he's going to be with the U.S. He's never going to have the most talent in a tournament. So, I mean, certainly a good tick on his resume, but maybe not exactly what the U.S. would be needing. Nevertheless, a lot of Frenchmen recognized by USS Soccer or U.S. Soccer reporters. Wilfred Nancy was asked, as the head coach of the MLS All-Star Game, he was asked about his interest in the U.S. men's national team head coaching position, and he said, I have interest in everything. I'm very interested in everything, every challenge. So, I mean, he's been beating around the bush quite a bit with the questions. But, I mean, he didn't say no. He showed interest, and why would he not, really, if, it is a rather large step up for him. So I'm sure he would have interest. It sounds like, he is somewhat in that circle if some reports are to be believed. But then also Hervé Renard and Patrick Vieira. Is the French the way to go for the U.S. here? Are we just, oui.
I mean, if the names are good, there's a lot of good French managers. I don't see why not.
Yeah, it's looking like if you're betting on a nationality, American may not actually be the favorite for this the U.S. job. And if you were to say that a couple years ago, that would be wild, considering the U.S. Soccer Federation is very much so about American managers. But Matt Crocker has made it clear he's going for the best one. He's going for a serial winner and someone who's proven. So that's opening up the nationalities and closing down the American one. Mike, let's run through Olympic roster. What do we want to see starting roster? Obviously, by the time people are listening to this, they may have already started watching that French game. But obviously, we have two other games here. What are we thinking is the best lineup here for the U.S.? I mean, I think the critics would say you start with Schulte in net. You have Caleb Wiley coming off at Chelsea. You have to go with all your overage players, Robinson, Zimmerman, and Mihailovic. And are you just building around there, or are you what's your thoughts on this lineup here that you're seeing from the Olympic side?
Yeah, I think you go Schulte for sure. More experience than Slanina, and you go Zimmerman and Robinson as your center backs for sure. You have to. I think they're the best players, definitely the most experienced. I'd go Wiley and Tolkien as my outside backs. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think Wiley on the left is a good shot. I think Tolkien could be on that left side as well. And then I think Nathan Harriel also has a shout for right back just because he is maybe a more natural right back, a very versatile player. But I think Caleb Wiley and John Tolkien would be the most talented grouping you could make of the outside backs, in my opinion. But yeah, so I say Wiley and Tolkien would be a good shout.
That's my shout. I've watched John Tolkien play a decent amount in New York. I like his game. And for the midfield, I think Georgie has to be in there as an overage player.
Yeah.
And then I'd go with the Venezia combo with Busio and Tessman, at least to start. Chemistry reasons. They're definitely more experienced than Kramashi and McGlynn. Handful of caps between them at a senior level. And I think chemistry is something to factor in. If it doesn't work, then you adjust. But to start with, that's what I go with.
Yeah, I think you have to go with the Busio Tessman duo just because of that chemistry and how short this kind of get together is. Georgi Mihailovic, bringing him in as an overage player, it would be interesting to say the least to not start him. I do think that we've seen Diego Luna now added to the MLS All-Star roster. He's been absolutely killing it in the MLS. He got plenty of goals and assists. I would have liked to see him be able to play a role in this, and I think it also opens up some rotation where you don't feel like you're forced to play a Georgi Mihailovic. You're not forced to play Diego Luna at the 10. You could play him out wide. You could do a lot of things, but I think Jack McGlynn also has a shout to start in this one. But the problem is, I think the forwards here, Mike, Jack McGlynn is great at playing in balls behind. He has a great kind of sniper type pass, but you're playing with potential Paxton Aronson, Taylor Booth, Duncan McGuire, Kevin Paredes, or Griffin Yao, and none of them are really pace demons other than Kevin Paredes. The rest are just kind of more technical players, or Duncan McGuire is kind of just that big man classic 9. So, those balls in behind from Jack McGlynn, I just don't think resonate much with this group. Obviously, a Cade Cowell, who had been a staple in this group, looking awfully good in Mexico right now. 3 goals and an assist in 3 games to start off the season. Is that what this team might miss here? We have a lot of smaller technical players, but no real bruiser pace guy to get in behind.
Yeah, that's a player I wanted to see go. The handful of times I've watched the youth team, I've seen him, and he's been great. I liked him at San Jose. Haven't been keeping tabs too much in Liga MX, but I love his game. I think he fits with these guys well. I think he plays off Paxton particularly well. They have some sort of understanding. So I think they will miss him. But that being said, it's still a good group of players. Those 5 guys, I think even without too much depth at the striker position, they can figure out a 3 that'll work.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Paxton Aronson, if Duncan McGuire's not firing, although I think he'll be the one to start up top, Paxton Aronson has played that number 9-ish, false 9-ish role in the youth teams because for their age group, there really wasn't a star striker that took that spot. So they played with just kind of a shit ton of 10s. And that's exactly what they're doing here, I'm sure, with Paxton Aronson, Taylor Booth, both kind of 10s, kind of wingers, and then Kevin Paredes out wide will certainly start. I think he'll be one of the stars you look at to kind of carry this team out wide playing for Wolfsburg. Griffin Yao may get the start. I think he might be a good person off the bench, just good at dribbling, good off people taking off the dribble. So see if he can bring in a spark off the bench. But Mike, what are your expectations for this Olympics? They have France in their group, but also Guinea and New Zealand. So you'd imagine they maybe get through, but if they don't get first in the group that they're playing in the knockout round in the first round is one that includes Argentina, most likely, if Argentina top their group, or if somehow the U.S. beat out France, or Argentina don't get first, they will be playing Morocco, most likely. Is it the same as Copa America, where you're kind of just hoping get out of the group and see what happens, or what is the expectation for the Olympic team here? What do they need to do off of the Copa America defeat and getting some momentum back here?
Olympics are tough, especially when you bring in overage players, and the U.S. is bringing in these overage players. Not our best foot forward. A lot of countries brought a lot bigger names, but my expectation is compete, get out of the group. France is a tall task. Getting a result would be massive. I don't expect that to happen. But New Zealand's very beatable, not bringing any senior players except for a center back, I believe. I looked through the roster. And then Guinea, a solid team. Naby Keita in the mix, obviously the Liverpool man or ex-Liverpool man. But I think we compete. I think we maybe even edge out either of those teams. So if we get results there, the France shouldn't matter. That game shouldn't matter too much. And then it gets tougher, but it can't get much tougher than France, I don't think.
You gotta hope to just get to the knockouts and see where that can take you. Obviously, keep in mind the U.S. U23 team would be able to include a Pepe, a Balogun, a Musa, a Reina, a lot of the people that are playing for our senior team. Those people not released due to clubs. This is not a FIFA sanctioned event, so clubs do not have to release their players for this. A lot of players, even in MLS, probably would have been able to come to this. That would have been better than some of these players, but not released. So keep that in mind, that this is maybe not the absolute, this is our next generation, these are our best next up. A lot of them just have not been released here, but this is still a decent group here. They should be able to get out of the group and see what they can do and make some noise. They've done well in tournaments before. But let us know what you think expectations of them should be. Who do you think is going to be maybe a breakout player here for the U.S. and the Olympic team, and who's going to earn themselves potentially a transfer to a larger stage? Mike, any closing thoughts here?
Good luck, lads. I'm excited. Been a while since we've seen a USA team in the Olympics. Tune in. It's on Peacock, so all the reason in the world to watch, unless you're at work. Watch anyway. I will. Wink, wink. Let's go, lads.
All right. We will see you next time with all the updates for the U.S., for transfers, and for everything else. Peace.